What's up, people? Again, guys, sorry for the bad voice quality. I'm not in a town with my main PC, and compare this microphone to my Shure SM7B, it's just a crap. Sorry again if the voice quality is bad. Boys, 2 days of FGT test, actually focus group test, is over. 40 to 50 people participated with this local event in Korea at NCSoft head office, and suddenly we don't have the footages from this focus group test because of the hard NDA, but this is the verbal leaking information which I have right now, since I think the NCSoft also wanted to leak some information. They just give some participants the right to talk about what they saw. So we have some juicy leaking information about Aion 2. I collect them, I compare them to the multiple sources to make sure them high chance of authenticity. Let me start with the most specific topics. I will use the timestamp and you can find the most important and interesting information for you, but I recommend you to watch the full video. Guys, I need to say you that anything what you will hear in the whole video is based on 45 level experience, which is not the maxed level, and equipment that the testers had was not on the top on, so the end game for the game will be totally different based on the classes, movements, and for everything. First, let's start with the targeting system. There is a multiple speculation about the targeting system. Mostly what I'm reading is the same, that the targeting system will be the hybrid, and that hybrid system for me looks like I'm familiar with the Throne and Liberty's hybrid targeting system. Let me explain this, okay? Aion 2 is a massive multiplayer game with the faction versus faction battles. Action combat targeting system is recommended for between 50 versus 50 players, which is the small scale combat, but when you talk about the faction versus faction, which can easily take 500 versus 500 people, action combat is so bad for the range classes. That is the reason why nowadays all action combat games are focused for the small scale PvP. If you don't know, Throne and Liberty had hybrid targeting system, which was giving you class mode top target options and somehow action combat mode, which was taking the target from your character's movement. If your character was looking forward, it was taking the forward target. This was the mostly fun for the melee close range fighter classes, and long range classes was just using the top targeting classic mode combat system. Also, action combat mode was good for PvE, since you just does not clicking on the mobs, you are just aiming the target from your character's direction. And yeah, for PvE the action combat mode was way better, but in the PvP top target classical targeting system was the best. Again, if you're facing the 500 people in front of you and your ranger or your sorcerer, you better to take the single targets or take the targets to drop their massive abilities. That's really good working for the massive games, and that's why the modern action combat games does not have this huge amount of the massive PvP structure. Now let's move to the combat system. There is a massive speculations and comparisons Aion 2 combat system to the other MMORPG combat system, since there was the 50 FGT testers and some of them even never played the MMORPG before. All the leaking informations are compared to the multiple games. Some people even compared Aion 2 PvE combat to the Lost Ark and gave it to the 4 out of 5. Let me just tell you what conclusion I've made based all of this information. Aion 2 have a different development team than Throne and Liberty had. Aion 2 development team is Team Aion, and Throne and Liberty development team was then Project TL team, which had a lot of workers from the Lineage to Eternal, and basically game had to be successful to Lineage 2, but successor of Lineage 2, what the fuck, man. Throne and Liberty was not near close to the Lineage 2. But based on this information, I think that Aion 2 combat will be the difference than Throne and Liberty's combat was, and I hope it will be the positively different based on speculations compared to the Lost Ark, and give it to the 4 out of 5. It's enough for me to let the cook the copy. Also, Aion 2 will have the active block dodge mechanic. You can avoid the attacks by the moving or the blocking it with the certain skills. Now let's go to the character creation, which was boom for everyone. Everyone, guys, almost any post I read, the people saying the character creation is the god tier. They never seen such amazing character creations before, and I think it is the 100% authentic information. Aion 1 back in the days had one of the best character creation. In 2009 it was a revolution to have such many options and not any single character looks the same. Also on the live stream I have seen the face and hairstyle sliders for Aion 2 character creation and it was stunning. I'm like a 99% sure that there will be the body sliders which are covering the whole body, and I hope there will be also the height size sliders too. Just 10 out of 10 for the character creation. Let's move to the classes in a game. Original Aion had 4 main classes and 8 main professions. Fighter classes had the Templar and Gladiator, Scout classes had the Ranger and Assassin, Mage classes had Sorcerer and Spirit Master. By the way, Spirit Masters will go to the lowest level of the hell after they die after the 100 years, okay? That's just a meta. And support classes, Chanter and Cleric. You need to know, guys, that the game does not have the gender lock system, so you can play male or female character and choose any of these classes whatever you want. Now let's start with the fighters. Templar are mainly tank and have the high mobility, massive control skills like can pull multiple players and such. The Gladiator had so negative feedbacks based on the FGT test, since many people mentioned that it was clunky and solo. Basically Gladiator have to be the heavy fighter of tank melee class, but I can say you my own idea about that negative feedback. In Aion 1, Gladiator had so bad early stages. It was so slow and clunky also in the early game, but when it was getting the gear and it was going to the end game content, man, that class was crazy. It was crazy powerful. I think the problem about the speed and the clunky movement is based on the 45 level and that creep gear which they was using, and mostly the people are using the creep gear on the FGT tests. Let's move to the Scout classes, are mostly for the leather classes, and first one we have Assassin. Assassin is the burst DPS class with the highest mobility and stealth opportunity. This is a speculation also that it's had long time stealth skill, so you could just stay under the hind lock period of time. Also enormous back hit damage is crazy good, and if you want to be a solo player, this class is made for you. Second one on the Scout classes is the Ranger. Archer will be the long range DPS dealer class, and as the testers mentioned, it was mostly the funny class to play on the FGT test period of time, since they have the stunning looking amazing AoE abilities, and you know the Archer is just a sexy class to do the long distance damage. Now let's go to the mages, and I know a lot of people loves mages in MMORPG. First we have the Sorcerer, Fire and Ice Mix Mage class, where the fire skills are mostly for the high single and our DPS dealers, and ice skills are mostly for the control, slow your enemy, freeze your enemy, and it's kinda control type of the abilities. But at the second hand we have the Spirit Master, which is amazing class for a lot of players back in the days. The Spirit Master in Aion 2 will fight with its spirits. It will have, even we see in the video, the Earth Spirit, the Wind Spirit, and the Water Spirit. These 3 spirits was showing in the trailer, and if you allow this kind of the class to play with the summoners, it is your class, it's the mage damage deal, and as the people mentioned, the spirits are doing huge amount of the damage. And the final one, support classes, we will have the 2 type of the support classes. First will be the Cleric as the fully healer class with the mage DPS AoE abilities, and mostly for the PvE these AoE abilities, and with insta casting healing skills for the single target and for the group. The people had really good impressions about the Cleric. I really liked what they was talking about the Cleric. It was really positive attitude, so if you love to be the supportive healer in MMORPG, Cleric is for you. And the final one, my best and lover class in Aion, Chanter. Guys, Chanter is the melee DPS dealer class which have highly self-sustain, and it can healing abilities mostly for the self, and it have the buffing abilities for your group to help your other group members. So I'm gonna be the Chanter, and I'm gonna highly focus on the Chanter, so once the game will comes out you can find a lot of information about the Chanter on this channel. Basically at the start we will have again 4 classes and 8 professions, but there is the high doubt at the future we will get the additional classes like an engineer with the gunner and other tech, and we will get the artists class like an bard and the painter. So this is not confident information, this is just my suggestions. Alright, now let's move to the UIs and skill. As a tester say, there is the 8 skills, so like 4 main skills and 4 stigma skills on the bar, but since they was only 45 level, I'm sure that they're the reason for this lower number amount of the skills. To compare this to Throne and Liberty's FGT test footages, we also see that some situations players had 3-4 skills, and in some situations they had 6 skills. So based on them level, and 45 level is so low level in Aion 2, it's not a max level, and that's why they only mentioned the 4 active and 4 stigma skills, totally 8. I think in Aion 2 we will also have the 12 skills on the max levels like in Throne and Liberty, and it will be goes like in 6 main skill and 6 stigma skill. Many people mention that skills you can enchant, and when you're enchanting the skills you get extra abilities on the skill, and they goes like in chain skills, you know, like for example 1 level skill have some ability, and if you will enchant that skill at the 5 level it will have extra abilities, and if you will click it 1 time you will use the first abilities, and it will pop up the chain option to click it again to use the second abilities. This will increase the game skills number a bit much more, and I think it will be really interesting. When you have such low number of the skills nowadays in the games, you have highly powered passive abilities, but there is not much information about the passive abilities. We need to wait once we get more official informations or play the game directly. There is also the speculations about the mastery system and the mastery skill tree, which will looks like in Throne and Liberty. You just see the mastery positions like in from left to the right, like in defensive and offensive or tactile or supportive trees. You can go and boost your character stat from that way also. By the way guys, everyone was saying that UI for the game was simplified and they compare it to the mobile UI, okay? I don't want to drop the copium here, I just want to show you the facts, okay? Any game's FGT test or closed beta test UI looks awful. Guys, let me just show you the example again from the Throne and Liberty. This is a Throne and Liberty's FGT test UI, and this is a Throne and Liberty's closed beta test UI. And this is the UI when the game released. You see the totally different situation. UI is so easy to polish, so developers mostly using the working build UIs when they are making the NDA test, and the selling games UI are always more polished and visually better. For the mobile side, we did not have any information since this test was only for the PC version of the game, and there's no information about how mobile game it is and such kind of the thing. Gearing and enchanting progression. Guys, we have 2 types of the gear in Aion 2. One, we will have the Abyssal PvP gear, and the second one we will have the Dungeon PvE gear. Abyssal point in a game is currency which you can gain from the PvP activities like killing the players for example, and with that point you can buy the PvP equipment which is highly efficient in the PvP. Others, we will have the Dungeon PvE gear which you can obtain from the farming in the PvE dungeons, and enchanting progression for these 2 types of the gear is the same. As the testers mentioned, we will have 3 types of the system which boost your gear. The one to change the stats in the gear, second one will be the socketing it with the mana stone slot, it's an extra options, and the third one will be to enchanting your gear. Basically, people said that the green with the good stat and high enchanted was better than the blue, but again guys, this is the people from the FGT test and they had no access to the good gear. They was just had the access to the random gear, and we need to see the game, you know. If you're a hardcore MMORPG player, you will understand way better when you will first touch the game. Alright, it's time for the PvP content. As you already know, Aion 2 is RVR faction versus faction based massive multiplayer MMORPG. It is the sequel for Aion 1, which was an Elios versus Asmodean saga, and these 2 factions was fighting between each other. Main fighting area will be the Abyss, which is the middle area between Elios' and Asmodean's controlled territories, and in that area you can gain Abyss point also to get the PvP gear. Middle of the Abyss, the testers say that there was the spawning the boss, which this 2 fraction was the fighting to get this boss, and I also think that the Abyss should be the fortresses which gives you players extra motivation to participate in this faction versus faction battle. PvE content otherwise was so glorified in this FGT test since the testers love the PvE content in Aion 2. A lot of them are glorifying Aion 2's PvE content. It is beautiful what information we had. There will be the tons of dungeons. Confirmed information is that Aion 2 will have 200 PvE dungeons. The testers mentioned that they could not even test all the dungeons because there was a limited time for this FGT test, and there was the tons of dungeons. So most of the testers are giving 4 out of 5 for Aion 2 in the PvE content. Raids and party system. Aion 2 will have 4-man party system. There will be the 4-man raids and 8-man raids. I think you will make an alliance for group to enter in the 8-man raid dungeon, but the information we have, instead of original Aion's 6-man party, in Aion 2 we will have the 4-man's party only. I think it will contain like a cleric as the healer, tank, Templar as a tank, and 2 more DPS to just push the dungeon. Wings, mounts and movement. Aion 1 was always special with its fly mechanic, and Aion 2 will have the same ability. Your character have wings and you can use them to fly around the map. Wings are craftable items and they are different with its power and the fly time mostly. Also there will be the wings collection, and I think as much as higher your collection as it is, you will have extra speed on the while you're flying and extra movement from the sides or something like that. Other hand, game also have the mounts, and here is the catch. If you fly everywhere, well, you need the mounts. Basically the fly time have to be highly limited in Aion 2, so if you are just going to the long range distance, you have to use your mounts. And guys, some people said that to escape from the fight with the mount is so easy, and it reminds me the Guild Wars 2 and Arcade. If in Aion 2 mounts will have extra abilities like they had in Guild Wars 2 and in Arcade, that would be amazing. It will be so good. Let's talk about the currency and the trading system. So far information we have, the game will have 4 types of the currency. First, it will be the kina as the gold, to spend it for upgrade your gear, trade it in the items to the other players. And guys, the Aion 2 will have direct trade between the player, one-to-one trade between the players, so you can give some items and equipments to your friends and you don't need to put them on the auction house. The second currency will be the abyssal token to buy the PvP equipment. The third one will be the farming token currency, which will spend if you go to the dungeon and you need to take a loot from the boss, you will need to spend that currency, so that will be the third currency. And the fourth currency will be the crystal, which is highly doped, the market currency, and gives you ability even to rest yourself with full HP. It doesn't matter where you die, even if you die in the PvP, you can just buy yourself to rest and stand up with the full HP and full stats. That currency also will give you ability to buy the cosmetics and the mounts in the shop. Now let's move to the game optimization. This is the big topic right now after Chrono Odyssey failed for the game optimization. In Aion 2 side we have the totally different situation. As the testers mentioned, in NCSoft office they had the PCs based on RTX 2070 and RTX 5070 GPUs. All of them saying that the game even on RTX 2070 with the maximum graphic was so smooth and enjoyable to play. To compare it with the Chrono Odyssey disaster for this optimization, we see the NCSoft's money power, so yeah, the game is solid and the game have good optimization. Similar even to the Throne and Liberty, you could actually play the game with the wood PC and still enjoy the game. And every Westerner's most important part for MMORPG, pay-to-win system. Guys, Aion 2 gonna publish as the free-to-play game, and there is a highly doubt that game will be pay-to-win. It just matters how hard pay-to-win it will be. You need to understand one thing. When the game is coming out to the global market, and when the game have the sequel and it have the huge hype and the developers are expecting the huge release, at the early stages the game will be so low amount of the pay to win. This you need to understand. If you come to the release for this game, the pay to win system will not bother you. But when the game will goes to the die, it will lose a lot of amount of the player, then the game will just increase the pay to win rate to generate the same amount of the money to just progress the game for the future. What information we have now is the crystals as the shop currency. It's used to buy the mounts and cosmetics in the shop, but there is a 2K factors. In the shop you can buy also the PvE dungeon tokens, which will help you to recharge your dungeon. I mean, if you will pay, you will enter more time in the dungeon than the people who will not pay for it. So basically, for some players it's not pay to win, they just say it paid for progress or pay to jump for the time, but no, it's the pay to win win. It's not a direct gear buy, but it's some kind of the level of pay to win. Also, these self-res factors, man, in Aion 1, when I was killing someone and he was self-res himself with the full HP again, I was killing second times, he was paying more. I mean, when you die one time, rest yourself, it was cost something, and if you die the same time in short period of time and you wanted to rest again, you was paying like in double, then triple, then quadra. And if you was killing someone in a row for like in 5 times, it means he spent a lot of money and you were so pleasured. It was really funny, but I don't know how the audience will react about this, but this is not a big deal. They can just remove it or they change it. And for the people who are crazy mad about the pay to wins, I want to tell you guys something. If the game is good, no one cares the pay to win. We have good example with Black Desert Online and the Lost Ark. People blame about pay to win if the game is average or bad. That's how your mind works. If you love the game, then you don't care if it's pay to win or not. If you don't like the game, you're just dooming it, and the pay to win is your main weapon to doom the game that it was pay to win and that's why it's failed. Now let's rating this everything, and let me tell you some release details about the game. Guys, all of this information are based on the testers and them impressions, so you may have the different ideas when you will see the game by yourself. Testers are highly positive about what they played, and such leaking positive information also even increase the price for the NCSoft stock market. That's the regular thing in Korea. Even the regular people are buying the gaming company stocks and they are just gambling, you know, the game gonna come out, if it will be good, I will see the profit. It's kind of casino in the Korea to gamble as the regular citizen for the gaming company's stock market. What I can say with the 100% guaranteed is the 3 things. Aion 2 will be the most beautiful game you have ever played. Aion 2 will have the most amazing character creation, and Aion 2 will have the amazing engine and optimization side to handle massive amounts of the player. In these 3 things, I'm 100% sure. It is the NCSoft, huge gaming corporation, and those 3 things you can buy with money, and they have a lot of money. To check rest of the content of the game and other things, we need to see and we need to play the game to understand and feel this everything on the practic, but these 3 things which you can buy from the money, I'm granting that it will be on the god tier. I'm gonna play this game on the closed beta test once it comes out to the Korea, and I'm gonna play this game on the Korea and Taiwanian region when it comes out to this year in 2025 November. There is no exact date, but stay tuned on the channel and you will be the first who will get that information from me. Also, I'm gonna make the guides how to play Aion 2 on the Korea and Taiwanian regions like I did for the Throne and Liberty. And guys, I'm a boy with the 15 years of Aion hardcore gameplay experience. If this game is new for you, it's just another expansion for me. So you can find most hardcore guidelines on this channel and the newest information. If you're interested with this game, hit the subscribe button for the channel, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. This will help me a lot for the future Aion 2 content, and as always, see you in the next video.